Hey guys, Chris here from Cohesive Friendship Unit. I am joined by Jeremy,
What's good, my homies?
and today we're going to see if Chris can eat his own words. I'm a little bit worried about the Nintendo Switch, but before we begin, we really appreciate subs, we really appreciate likes, we really appreciate shares, we really appreciate comments. So anything we get, thank you. All right, Nintendo Switch. When this thing launched, and I think everyone in the Switch community was hyped that we got a system that was selling. We were getting first party games that were selling and that were good, and we were seemingly getting a healthy flow of third party content. Some highlights for third party, and I know some of these are a little smaller, but for me personally, The Binding of Isaac, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Doom, Mario, and Rabbids Kingdom Battle are just a few of the games that I bought that were actually third party. I know LA Noire also came out for the system. That people were excited that we were not just getting third party games, but they seemed to be of relative quality. And things like Sonic Forces, hooray, were day and date releases with the Xbox and the PS4.
Thank Christ.
Thank Christ. Thank Christ. I think so. Yeah, Sonic Mania was all like right around. That was a little weird with the Steam release. Like everything was within like a week of each other. So, well, I don't remember the exact dates. Regardless, it was off to a good start, and I think the first kind of head scratch happened in late 2017 when they announced that Wolfenstein 2 was coming to the Nintendo Switch, which was interesting because it was coming in 2018, and everybody else was getting their version, which is based, at least based on how Doom turned out, objectively the best version of the game in October of that year. Whereas Switch owners had to wait till 2018 with, compromises with the expectation that you can play it portably. So it's up to you to decide if that's worth it, and a much lower frame rate. Then Dark Souls was announced a few months ago at a Nintendo Direct. Everyone was very excited for that. That is expected to drop very soon, actually, in May. And just earlier this week, Dark Souls announced that they are postponing the Switch version of the game. Everything else is coming out at the same time. The Amiibo has also been delayed, and it's delayed well into the summer. It's delayed into July. And the last kind of thing that at least personally struck a chord with me was that we didn't see any Fortnite on the Switch. And I know that there's rumors coming around about this, but the fact of the matter is Fortnite is literally on everything from PC to Mac to PS4 to Xbox One to Android to iOS. There's probably a refrigerator out there that can play Fortnite. But the Nintendo Switch, one of the big three gaming systems, does not have any version to speak of. So I'm a little concerned, I guess. I'm a little concerned that, one, that third-party support is waning, or at least strained in some capacity. Also, Spyro seems to be coming on Xbox One, and again, there were possible leaks of a Switch version, but there's no confirmation on that. I'm a little concerned that, one, support is waning, and two, the days of the Switch being able to keep pace with these big bad boys are numbered.
I mean, they were never here.
Well, Sonic Forces, man.
Sonic Forces, man.
Well, no, I mean, so you take Skyrim.
No, but this is what I've been saying since release. Like, I don't think the Switch is doomed. I'm not particularly worried.
Oh yeah,
about
no,
it.
it's not doomed. It's just
the Switch has already succeeded tremendously.
Third party has sucked since the N64, and
yeah, and it sucks on the Switch.
It seems like it's not going to get a whole lot better.
Yeah, but it's been bad the whole time. But I know what you're saying. But it clearly was never going to be able to maintain, parity in terms of third-party releases. Like, yes, Skyrim's on it. Yes, Doom is on it. Those were games that were years old when the Switch came out.
Doom was a year old.
Okay, but like it was a year old when the Switch came out. How was it a year old when it arrived on Switch? Maybe a year and a little.
Year and a half, yeah, year and
Yeah,
change.
sure. So this is, I think, what's been par for the course for the Switch so far, and pretty much what I expected. It's pretty underpowered compared to the other consoles, and the other consoles are nearing the end of their life cycle. The Switch is just starting, so that obviously raises technical issues. And this is why I've been trying to stress like the importance of how Nintendo's going to manage their big first party IPs and when they schedule them, because they're not going to, at least I don't think they're going to have that level of third party support moving forward, necessary to just carry the system on its own. They have to really leverage their first party titles.
So let's break it down real quick, because you mentioned you mentioned things like the PS4 and the Xbox One. They're mature. People kind of know the tricks. They can make strong games with them that might have trouble porting. And to an extent, I understand that. Like, I'm not necessarily expecting us to get the next Battlefield on Switch. But let's narrow in on Fortnite real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck is that not on the Switch?
That's a good question.
It's on Android.
Because Nintendo has their head in their own colon.
So you think this is a Nintendo issue?
As opposed to?
An Epic issue.
I don't see how it could be an Epic issue. As you said, it doesn't have a problem with any other platform. So I can't imagine what the issue would be.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame. And let's quickly address the performance thing. I think that there's still time. I think as long as the Xbox One and as long as the PS4 exist on the market, that a fair amount, not necessarily all, but a fair amount of third-party games can make their way over.
Right. I agree, but not day and date, because it's a different development process. They have to be developing these titles like in parallel to come out for the Switch, and I just don't think they're going to do that. The way that I'm not a scientist.
But do you think
it seems like the games that they have to develop for, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 3 have much more similar specifications, easier to develop, and that's the vast majority of the market for most third-party titles.
And so
they're just not going to put their energy into making sure that everything comes out on Switch on day one.
So that makes me itch for a few reasons. I'm really itchy right now, right?
He's itchy.
Because
he's worried about Bayonetta 2. He had been promised that
dude,
Bayonetta 2 was coming to the Switch.
Well, it's already on the Switch.
Oh, fuck.
But I am super itchy because let me talk about my itches. I really enjoyed my Doom experience on the Nintendo Switch. That is the only way that I played the game. I played the demo on PC, so I'm a little... And I played it in 4K, so like I kind of saw both ends of the spectrum. I saw the very lowest and the very highest. I really liked the experience I got from the Switch because I ultimately came down to the portability, and the frame rate didn't bother me that much at the end of the day. Frame rate doesn't tend to bother me though, so I'm a little biased there. But I really liked, being able to play at work or hopping on a plane and cutting out a few levels. For my current lifestyle, that's like, if I'm going to play a longer, more than 20-hour game, that's going to be how I'm going to want to play it. And when things like Wolfenstein are announced to come out in 2018, I really want to play Wolfenstein. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, 2018, I'm assuming that's January. February, Q1. We'll call it Q1. I'll wait it out. I'll have a good time waiting it out. And here we are, June 29th. Wolfenstein was just announced this week to be coming out on the Switch, June 29th. It has already been on sale on Steam for $30 several times. So I could, and this has been hard for me, like I could purchase a superior version of Wolfenstein for $30 and play it on my PC and have a great time. Or I can wait for the Switch version longer and longer, like over half a year, to play what is realistically an inferior version for more money. And I think that's going to cause sales issues and cause a loss of support. This is where my itch comes.
Sales issues in terms of Switch sales, or in terms of sales of the games?
Software sales, which would cause the downturn in third-party stuff to be even sharper.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Because I still do hold fairly strong that the Switch is, at least for quote unquote gamers, real gamers,
Real
that
gamers.
it's a secondary system, not a primary system. You probably have another system to play Wolfenstein on. If you're the type of person who wants to play Wolfenstein 2, you probably do not exclusively own a Nintendo Switch.
Probably. If Wolfenstein 2 is a priority for you, yeah, you probably do not own just a Switch.
Yeah.
Because you have correctly assessed that you will not be able to play Wolfenstein 2 on the Nintendo Switch in a time-efficient manner. You have made a good assessment. You have purchased things correctly. No, yeah, this is, I'm like, I don't know. Is it? I don't. It's probably not that big of a deal. But this is like Nintendo had an excellent marketing campaign where they came out and they said at the get-go, like, oh, we're gonna have all these things, and like they made it seem like they were gonna have all these third-party titles day and date, and they were gonna have this really significant third-party support, which was a major issue for the Wii U. And I was kind of like, no, you're fucking not gonna have all that shit. And like when you look at the titles, all the third-party games that are coming out early in the Switch's life cycle, yes, they're big-name games, but they're all games that have been out for quite a while, so they've had a lot of time to queue them up, and they're less technically intensive. And like I don't know, that's kind of what's happening.
Okay. So, real quick though,
Fortnite though, that is weird.
that's dumb.
Get on that. Someone get on that.
And I'm hoping and praying it's like sitting in the back of their pockets for a direct.
Probably isn't.
For a direct, like yeah, but it should be out by now. That's the thing. Like the last direct when they announced Smash, they should have also announced Fortnite because that's when it was already everywhere.
Yeah.
But whatever. The last thing though I want to talk about, we're in a different age though. This is a different time in games. This is a time where third party does not matter as much as it has in the past because of the indie community. And the Switch is, as far as I'm concerned, unequivocally the best place to play indies because you're playing them with almost no compromises because they typically run on anemic requirements. So you're basically getting parity with a PC version more often than not.
Dude, anemic and parody in the same sentence.
I know, right? Kids brushing up on his
Went to
SATs.
college.
Yeah, kid has a BS. And on top of that, you can take these games anywhere, and the potential for multiplayer is there, and you know all that's like kind of baked into the experience. So I'm hoping, at least, because for me, I can derive a lot of enjoyment out of indie games, things like Stardew Valley, things like Rocket League, things like Hollow Knight. There are a lot of really strong indies, Owlboy, that can hold me over, and I'm hoping that can kind of be where Nintendo shines for, we'll call it third-party support in the future.
That's an interesting theory. I'm not. I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much because I don't know the overall state of like indie sales. That sounds to me more like a fig leaf. Like, oh, we have third party support. Look at these indie titles that are available on Switch. Like 10 of them are big, and the other 300 no one plays.
I just mean from the perspective of, instead of me 100% relying on Nintendo to provide entertainment on this box. Ooh, it's not a box anymore. It's like a thing. I can get enjoyment. I can rely on another source to keep the flow of games.
Yeah, so a bit of a supplement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good, and I think that'll be there, and I think they'll continue to have third-party titles to the best of their ability. But you know, if you bought a Switch, you bought it because you want to play a Nintendo game. So, like fundamentally,
this is true. Yeah.
so they're going to keep making Nintendo games, and they're going to be on there, and they're going to come out. So to me, it's more balancing that kind of timeline, and then using what you can of third-party titles and indie titles to kind of pad out between big releases on your end. And that's probably their strategy, something like that. I shouldn't say that. I don't fucking know. But
does your uncle work for Nintendo?
My dad invented Nintendo.
Is your dad Reggie?
My dad invented the Nintendo Labo. Okay, it was originally supposed to be for Microsoft 3.
Microsoft 3, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. What do you have to say, Chris?
No, I mean, I think we're about done here. I think we touched all the major things. Uh,
All right, we touched them all.
we we touched everything. Yeah, I mean, we agree that third party is not what we had hoped for, or not what the Nintendo fans had hoped for, uh, as a persistent thing. And I think the Tegra X1, while it is a uh, capable chipset, is already kind of showing its age when you need to compare it directly to like a PS4 and the software that can run on a PS4. And I think Fortnite, or not Fortnite, indie games and that community can kind of help sustain supplementary software than first party software. But yeah, I think we're in agreement here.
All
But
right.
but what do you guys think? And let us know down below what you think. Do you think that the big publishing third party software is kind of going to slow down very rapidly in the near future? Do you think that indies are enough? Are you happy with your Switch still? Let us know down below. And again, like, subs, everything, super, super appreciated. We were having a great time chatting with you guys in the comments, so keep that up. And we will catch you guys next time.